case clean, I won't shroud it in no love. Getting laced at the seams, turning powder into dust. I need space for my team, it's getting crowded in the club. Now I walk with a goddess, she a full course meal while I...
What's up, guys? Happy Sunday. It is December 11th, 2022, and it's 2:02 p.m. So we're going to dive into the weekly chart because we're getting the weekly close today. And then we're going to look at XRP a little more in depth. But we're seeing in the past hour here, things start to gear up. So let's look at the weekly chart right now. We got 4 or 5 hours until this weekly candle closes. And right now we're getting that stock RSI cross up. We're seeing the MACD continuing that dark green uptrend. And let's look at the TSI. We're seeing the TSI cross through. So we're seeing the TSI cross back up through. And that is a great sign because when we get the cross up through, that was the bear market bottom back in 2019. We saw a short-term bottom in January 2020 over here, as well as back at the COVID crash when we had our recovery. And then also back over here in our May our May crash back in 2021, we started to rise. So right now we're getting the same kind of thing happening. And we can see that if we go to the lower time frames a little bit, we are battling against some resistance right now. So if we can pop through that 822 billion total market cap, then it's likely, we're going to come up, retest like 850 billion. But the key is to get back above and hold as support from this low to this high. Let's stretch it out. We need to get back above 958 billion, preferably 1 trillion, 1.03 trillion to really set in stone that this bear market is over. Because if we did that, then we'd be getting back above all the moving averages, where that's when we go bullish, when we're above the moving averages. When we're bearish, we're below all moving averages. So right here, rejection, bam, we slam down. So with the moving averages coming down, it's setting up nicely for us to have a move up to finally get above these and start back on our uptrend. So weekly chart, as far as today's looking, it is looking good. We're getting the stock RSI, MACD. Now let's go to the Bitcoin chart. So Bitcoin on the weekly chart right now, we're seeing something happen here, and we're very close. We are very close to this market structure kind of ribbon. So the green is when we're in kind of a bullish market structure. Red is when we flip bearish. So right here, it insinuated to us that, hey, we're flipping bearish in the market structure. We're back here. It said bullish, right? So right now we're having a good weekly close, or at least for the time being, we have 5 hours left. If we can have a solid following week, this upcoming week, as far as the close goes, it's likely this ribbon is going to flip from red to green. That from the past has always been a good sign, right? Bam. And then bam. And then back here too. Back here. It's undeniable on the weekly chart that when we switch from red to green, it is very much a big deal. And we got to take note to it. I'm in the camp that we might have already bottomed, but we got to wait for these confirmation. So as you can see as well, we are putting in some hidden bullish divergence. So if I bring this to the top, so we're looking at the RSI right now, and then the price is up here as well too. So you can see that right here, we had a low, and then right here, we did a lower low, where we did a low in the RSI, and we did a higher low in the RSI. So we're doing some hidden bullish divergence, which is insinuating to us that things might be turning around here. So, and it's looking very much like that. Very nice chart on the weekly for Bitcoin currently. This week is going to be the tell as to if we get that follow through or not. We did come down and we found our support right on those void lines that right here. Let me actually put this down a little bit. So we came down to touch the bottom band of the void lines, and we've been holding nicely since this level. So if we come up here, we retest 19,500, 20K, we hold as support, and then we come up, break through 26,000, this high over here. It's likely we're gonna see a strong move, and we could come right all the way up to 30,000, maybe even 38K. That definitely in the cards. And that's the level that if we break back above, the bear market's back on. And we could target right up to 96,000 later on when the market really starts to gear up as far as hitting a bull market again. So that is looking very positive. Now let's go to Ethereum, because Ethereum on the weekly chart has already shown its ribbon change from red to green. We did it back October 31st, and we came back down to retest these lows. We didn't break lower. Right here, you can see that's the case where we came down initially in May. We found our support down here. And then most recently we came back down, we held that support. So it's looking good. As far as Ethereum looks way better than Bitcoin based off of this. So if we can get back above $1,600 to $1,800 in Ethereum, and then ultimately get over 2,000 to 2,200, Ethereum may be back in a bull market sooner than people think. And we're seeing a stock RSI cross up. We're seeing the MACD dark green rising still. We are seeing the TSI. It's already crossed up. It hasn't crossed down at all. We're starting to gear up again. So things are looking good on that end. And you can see here, based off the void lines color schemes, when Ethereum turned from yellow to green to blue, the blue here, just like we're at now, was our final low before going on our bull market again. It was our final low. The blue signifies like a change in direction, just like back here. We had rallied up a ton. We had the blue. We changed direction. We fell a ton. We had the blue. We changed direction. Now we're having the blue again, and it's looking like we may change direction. And this is a 2-week chart now, and you can see that the Stargate signals, the vertical green line, vertical blue line right here, called the bottom, called the top. And now we have a vertical green line insinuating that a prepare to buy soon. So we're just waiting for that vertical blue line to know that, hey, the bottom's in. How we're going to get it, and we're very close. In 7 days, we already have one check mark. The stock RSI is crossed up, and we're getting through this 50 line right now. And then we just need to see this TSI so close to cross up, which will get us this MACD to flip green. And then bam, the Ethereum bottom is in. So that is what I'm watching as far as Ethereum goes. Ethereum is looking pretty nice at the moment. What would make it look nicer is us getting above this EMA ribbon sitting around 2,000. We get above 2,000, we're getting above this red right here, which would make us flip to green, as well as we're getting back above the EMA ribbon, which when we did that over here, bam, we went bullish. So things are looking good as far as Ethereum goes, if we can maintain that and maintain these lows down here. Now let's look at XRP. Because XRP on the 1-day chart, let's take a look into what has gone on here. So for XRP, we're on the weekly chart right now, and you can see we already had a weekly buy now signal that came in around like 33 cents. We rose, came back down to retest 33 cents, and we held it as support. Usually when you see that happen, that's now our support floor. That's set in stone. That's a critical level, and we know that based off of historical support and resistance as well too. You can see these yellow horizontal lines, resistance all right here. We broke above, bam, 13x in 21 days, came back down to it as support. Then we broke down below it, resistance, got above, came back down for support, went into our bull market, and then we came with a long grueling kind of drawdown here to retest that support again. As far as market structure goes, looks very good. Now what we need to see is for this 1 week stock RSI to cross back up here. It's looking good as far as I thought we might have started to pull down like that, which wouldn't have been good because the TSI would have crossed back down. The MACD would have crossed back down to red, which every single time that happens, we cross down to red, bam, sell off, cross down to red, bam, sell off, cross down to red, bam, sell off. So when we flip green, that's when we can get excited. And we're still green for now. So this is a critical week, this upcoming week, as far as we need to see a strong move out of XRP, because then we'll get a confirmation. We'll get a confirmation as far as the stock RSI crossing back up again, holding this 50 as support very well. We'll see the TSI stop dead in its tracks and curl back up again. And then likely the MACD will go from this light green to dark green again and start to gear up as well. Then we've already broken out of our RSI resistance over here. So we had this kind of coming down like that. We did have overshoot right here. That was our kind of over exuberance top. And then we came back down. And recently with this move over here, we broke out of that downtrend. And then we retested that downtrend as support with RSI. So we need to see follow through. If we can get back up and break above this trend line here, sitting around 48 to 50 cents, we're golden. And then ultimately, if we get above 55 cents, hold there as support, we're going to see some fireworks. So keep that on your radar. If I go to the daily chart and we look at what the signals have flashed, we have already gotten, so back here, we in June, we had gotten our buy now signal at 32 cents, June 23rd. Then we got a sell here August 9th at 38 cents. Then we got a buy back in at 33 cents around September 9th. Then we got a sell up here around 50 cents around October 1st. Then most recently on November 24th, we got a buy back in again at 38 cents. And now you can see we're starting to gear up again. So what I want to see is on the daily chart, the stock RSI cross back up here, the MACD not flip red, and the TSI cross up. So the end of today is going to be a very telling if that's the case. And then this week is going to be telling as far as the overall trend direction. If we pull back down here, we need to hold 36 cents first stop, but 34 to 33 cents are critical support that we got to hold for the overall macro structure. All right, so now let's take a look at XLM on the weekly chart. And actually, let's go to the 2-week for XLM. So the 2-week for XLM, right? Let's look at the color schemes over here, because we know that when we hit our top back here and we broke down, we kind of went like, say like, all right, we have this. Actually, let me delete all this. So I found XLM's kind of structure, how it usually goes is works in like 3 kind of blocks. So I'm going to actually go and hide that. And I'm going to show you kind of the fractal of XLM. This is what you usually see out of XLM. You see its first kind of block right here. It has a breakdown. It does its second block. Then it has its second breakdown. And then it does its final block. And then that's when it kind of revisits back up to here. And then it kind of closes like that. And then it goes. Same pattern right here is playing out. It played out again. Like I found that, and it's kind of like a universal thing as well too. There's micro patterns and fractals that make up the overall macro fractal and pattern. So, all right. So now we have a reset of the fractal. So now let's go like this. That's our first block. So we have that first block. We break down, right? We do our second block, and then we do our second breakdown, and then we have our third block, right? And then we didn't go lower than that point, just like back here, how we have our first breakdown, first breakdown, then we have our second, and then second breakdown, then we have our second breakdown, and then we form our third block, which is our bottom, third block, which is our bottom. Then we pop up and we retest back up around here, right? Just like we did over here. Then we kind of go here, and then we break up and we retest right back up over here. Same thing, right? Then we pull back down. And where do we go to? We kind of go close to like our second block, somewhere around here. That's where we pull down to. So that's what we just did. I mean, we didn't go into our third block back down here. We found support right where our second block is formed. So now let's look at the pattern again, right? First block, breakdown. Second block, breakdown. And this is our third block, right? And now what we do, right? We do our third block, and then we're going to pop back up here, likely retest 40 to 44 cents, then do a little curl back down action like that. And then I believe we're going to go, and we're going to get over $1. That's what I'm seeing as far as XLM goes. It's such a beautiful chart. It's actually very kind of easy to see the fractal of how XLM works. It works in those 3 blocks. And then, so I hope you can see that and see that fractal, how it plays out with the 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, revisit the first block, pull back down to the second block, and then bam, restart, first block, second block, third block, break out, retest the first block, pull back down to the second block, and then first block, second block, third block, break back up, and we're going to reset and then go. That's what I'm going to see play. That's what I'm seeing playing out. And this just made me myself want to just go all in on XLM right now because it is such a steal. Like it really is such a steal. It's at like 8.5 cents. Its lowest point was around like 3.5 cents. We're not that far off from the bottom set around March 2020. I mean, we're heading into like January 2023. We're talking about like you're saving about like 2 years and like 9 months of time. You could have just been like, I'm good with crypto, and then learned about it and then been like, all right, I'm going to buy in now. And it's like kind of buying back when it was July of 2020 or October of 2020. You just saved all that nonsense in a year. So great time to buy in. So if you haven't already, the link will be in the bio because we're not putting any extra money in this market unless we come into extra money. We're utilizing our current stack to make more of XLM and XRP. So a strategy that I personally use and how I've accumulated my amounts of XLM and XRP is utilizing the RAC strategy, rapid accumulation of coin strategy. And let me show you what that means. So in the Stargate Discord, a link will be in the bio. Come join it. We're doing a 12 days Christmas sale. So when you join it, you won't see all those signals. What you'll want to do is go to the launch pad and you'll want to get on a plan here. So scroll all the way up until you see this and click it. And if you still see the first two plans there, the Stargaze and Stardust, then we still have some spots left. So once those spots are filled up or once it turns Christmas, we're going to end this special that we're doing. So $33 and $44 a month, you'll get access to these automated signals that will put you ahead of the game as far as when to get in, when to get out. So you can see here that we have XLM signals in real time. We just got a 1 day buy now, a 3 day prepare to buy soon, 8 hour buy now. So XLM is gearing up. XRP is not performing as well as XLM, I think, is going to do. So how we're going to spot that is our pair-to-pair swing signals, which is our rapid accumulation of coin strategy, where we're going to look at XRP against XLM. So like we can see right here, there was just a signal as far as XRP against XLM goes. XLM against XRP yesterday night, 12-hour buy now. That's a move to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tiny bit of portion of my XRP bag and convert it into XLM because I do believe XLM is going to start to outperform XRP over the next couple weeks here. Once we get XLM versus XRP sell now, then I'm going to convert back into XRP. And since XLM would have performed better than XRP, we're actually going to be able to accumulate more XRP than we originally had. And then we can ride the wave up of when XRP is starting to outperform XLM, making more on the way up. So we developed the strategy. We have the automated signals based off of the vertical lines that you saw. That's Stargate's custom software. And we have it sent real time right into these channels here. We have the individual coins, but we have the pair-to-pair signals, the rapid accumulation of coin strategy, which is just going to kill it 2023. I mean, you don't see anybody else doing this. XLM against ETH, 12-hour buy now. XLM against SOL, 12-hour buy now. XLM is getting ready to outperform. So I'm ready for it. I hope you are too. So come join the Discord. The link will be in the bio and take advantage of that deal that we're doing. Just go to the launch pad in here when you see it and scroll all the way to the top. And if you see those 2 memberships there still, I jump on it because we've never gone that low in pricing. So take advantage of that and get access to the insights that you're going to want going into 2023. So exciting times ahead, and I will see you in the videos this week.